welcome to this edition of Steelers Weekly. Tonight you'll see some of the best content from Steelers.com that aired throughout the week. Let's get started.
All 6'8", 330 of Zach Banner eligible.
Zach, before we talk about the Monday night game, the eligible receiver, the crowd, I want to go back to the post-game interview you did after the game. And you basically were saying that Pittsburgh feels like home. So why does it feel like home, and maybe why did your previous stops not feel like home to you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to say this for about the year and a half that I've been here. Obviously, I've been taking a break from media just out of respect to not only the older guys, because they like that, you know, when a young guy comes in and starts contributing. I don't want to be woe is me. And then also Pittsburgh is just like that. Like, you can just tell the Pittsburgh people are about action more than words. And if you do have actions, then you can have your words. But I meant what I said. You know, I've been here all off season through the cold and the heat. And I've seen everything Pittsburgh has to offer in terms of football support as a team, but also individual support this last week. And I know I kind of jumped the gun on that. I know we weren't getting to that, but I just wanted to show my appreciation to the Pittsburgh fans because, like I said, they're so football oriented and so focused on and so die-hard black and gold. I got that right this time. That it means a lot to them. And I want them to know that not only for me, but other guys on this team, it means a lot to us as well.
This offseason, I was here, so I saw that you were here in Pittsburgh. You mentioned, you know, roughing through the cold and the winters that are, you know, living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But why did you stay here this offseason, and maybe take me through the transformation that you did do to get to 2019?
Yeah, so going into, obviously, I don't know, just a quick summary. I was drafted in the 4th round by the faceless team that we're playing this week.
That's good. Good call.
And then I was released at the end of camp on waivers. Got bidded for by 4 teams. I was with another faceless opponent that plays in the North as well. For my whole rookie season, 0-16. By the end of that 0-16 season, I was 420 pounds. I reported to Steelers camp around 370, so I'm already down 50-something pounds going into it, which is one of the reasons why the Steelers brought me in, because I had that part of fixed. But I was really just a guy, a just-in-case guy. And Coach T asked me, and I remember this like it was yesterday. He asked me after, I think it was week 8 that we played the Panthers on Thursday Night Football. You remember that? He said on Wednesday, the day before the game, he said, after the game on Thursday, meet me in Guy's office Friday morning after the game. And usually when a coach tells you that, you're getting ready to either be traded or released. I knew that from experience. And he brought me in and he asked me, he said, how do I turn you into a $50 million tackle? And he said either with this organization or another one, because I can see that in you, and that's why you were drafted, and that's why yes, you've had your ups and downs, but how do you think I turn you into that? And I said, I don't know, coach, you tell me. And then he looked at me and said, I think you should get a house out here. Where are you living? I said, in a crappy apartment on the south side, because I don't know when my last day is. He said, get a house and stay here in the off season. So week 8, I knew that they were going to give me extension. And obviously I didn't put that out there because there was 8 more weeks to earn that and solidify that. But when a team or an organization, like when I was at USC, sees the work that I put in and shows love back like they do here, I will run through a wall for anybody. I'll take a bullet for anybody, because this is my family, and I feel like this organization is somewhere where I belong, and I love it here.
Number 72 is reported as an eligible receiver.
We have to go back to Monday night. When did you start to notice the crowd?
Go ahead.
When did you start to notice the crowd
First time.
cheering? You did?
Yeah, no one else noticed. Well, here's the thing. Like, I think the first time I go in, we're down. I think we're down already, right?
14-0.
There's no reason to cheer. There's no reason to anything. And also, it's not a coincidence, because I made sure, I just didn't want to be the guy to bring it up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I kind of like smile and I keep my helmet down. And when I'm in the huddle too, when it's happening, I'm like looking to where I usually look, but I'm making sure I look down so people doesn't see me cheesing, because I noticed it from the first thing and it just got louder and louder. And now that it's a thing, it's gonna be a thing. So like my thing now is, fans, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. But I promise you, unless we're obviously winning by a lot, I'm not going to acknowledge it, but I do appreciate it because I have to focus, man. There's an assignment. We can't just be out there ding, or else guess what? I'm going to lose my job and then you're going to have another guy reporting.
You like when I
Candy
scratch
for
behind your
everybody.
ears?
Candy for everybody. Labs is officially the Halloween winner for best
pirate
costume
away from me.
and the winner today of
Walk
Agree
the
to
plank,
Disagree.
Fruta.
Can't get it.
Here was this week's edition of Agree to Disagree. We are getting into the Halloween spirit a little early here on Agree to Disagree, the show with the motto.
I'm
right.
He's wrong. It's
He's
a
wrong.
doggone shame he even ever wins this thing.
All right. Anyways, statement number one is
Cowboy.
the Steelers get ready to prepare for
I
the
don't resp-
Colts.
I only respond to dog whistles.
Even if it hurts, does that count? Even if it hurts, get Cam off the field. Pursuta, you're first.
That's a tough one. Let me think. No. Cam Hayward's got to stay on the field. I don't know if anybody else has noticed, it's getting a little thin now on defense as well as offense. And while I was all for the creative use of Vince Williams in the Miami game, they seem to do a really nice job of being thoughtfully non-rhythmic in terms of replacing Stephon Tuitt. They need Cam Hayward in the trenches. It's going to be tough on Cam Hayward. He's going to have to buck up. He's going to have to buckeye up. He's going to have to eat his Wheaties. But they need him out there playing as much as he can humanly possibly play because A, he's having a really good season, and B, they're starting to run out of guys. So do not give Cam Hayward the hook.
All right, Labs.
Well, that's a dog of an argument. I'm going to treat it like a fire hydrant here right now. I disagree with Pursuta. I agree with the statement, and I'm not arguing that Cam Hayward should be coming off the field because of any lack of production or because of anyone behind him is a superstar. I'm saying you got to give Cam Hayward some rest during games, or you have the potential of him getting tired, his muscles getting tired, and then they can rip. I mean, Cam Hayward had this exact same injury that Stephon Tuitt is going through. And so I would rather give Cam Hayward an occasional break during a game and preserve him for the rest of the season. Because if you lose him to a season-ending injury, your season will be over.
All right. My bell's a little off today. Statement number two. Jacoby Brissett doesn't scare me. Labs, you're first on this one.
Agree. I mean, there's nothing really about Jacoby Brissett that should scare you. What is good about Jacoby Brissett in terms of the way that Indianapolis Colts look at him is that he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. But you look at his yards per attempt, 6.9. People wanted to run Mason Rudolph out of town as Dr. Dink and Dunk when his was 6.87. I'm here to tell you, boys and girls, that 0.03 of a yard per attempt is not very much. I mean, so Jacoby Brissett is efficient. He's not a liability, but scare me. Maybe Andrew Luck scares me. Maybe the dark scares me. Maybe a big pit bull scares me. Jacoby Brissett does not.
Pursuit.
We should probably take that stat sheet and put it under your cage there, Fido, because that's what it's worth. If you watch the games, he ought to scare you. All you got to do is go back to Sunday against Denver. The Colts are backed up near their own goal line, and they're losing. And Von Miller has a clean path to the quarterback, and Jacoby Brissett spins out of it because
his arm.
he is that new age quarterback that can hurt you with his arms and his legs, and the best kind of new age quarterback, the one that knows how to use his legs to allow his arm to do its work. You mentioned he doesn't turn the ball over. That's a pretty big deal. He wins games. The Colts do not commit pre-snap penalties. He runs the huddle. He gets them lined up. He uses everybody, his tight ends, his receivers, his running backs. It's a balanced offense. This guy has just enough experience to be really good at this right about now. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett scares me.
Duck Hodges got him in and out of the huddle and didn't have pre-snap penalties. Does he scare you?
All right, the fighting is over.
I can scare the Ducks. I can scare the Ducks.
I have some treats in pursuit. Unfortunately for you, it did not matter what you said today. Labs tugged at my heartstrings by wearing a golden retriever.
I knew it.
Shout out to Marianne. So,
You like when I
candy
scratch
for
behind your ears?
everybody. Candy for everybody. Labs is officially the Halloween winner for best costume.
Away from me.
And the winner today of
Walk
Agree
the
to
plank,
Disagree.
Get it.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Having the players here with us today from the Steelers just really takes this event to the next level. It gives the children a chance to look up to role models, to see these men who come up and give their own time to play, interact, and show them how that they can strive to be anything they want in this day and age. And it really takes a volunteer event and just makes it extra special.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to get to know some of the kids around the community and just get to spend some time with them and kind of goof around. I like to spend time, in the community, especially with the little kids. I mean, my mom's a kindergarten teacher, so I've kind of always liked, kind of mentoring younger kids and being around them.
It's just a blessing to be out here with the kids and just to enjoy this time with them and allow them to be out, not really outside, but just active. It's good to have kids outside of their house instead of playing games.
Hi everybody, welcome inside the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. The Steelers trying to stack a win again with the Colts in town Sunday at 1. It is time for our keys to the game presented by your neighborhood Ford store. As always, I am joined by Touch Ilkin and Arthur Moats, and you have been keeping the streak alive, so you will be going first.
Listen, man, we got to stay hot. And a particular person that needs to stay hot is Mason Rudolph. We all saw his second half performance versus the Dolphins. He started to look a lot more comfortable. He was throwing passes on schedule and taking those shots downfield that all of us love to see. So I need him to keep it going.
You know, Arthur, I agree with you 100% because the slow start was actually a learning experience for Mason. And so when he got hot at the end of the first half and then carried it into the second half, you know, that's a learning experience. Mm-hmm. And so he has a point of reference and he's not a guy that's going to tank if he throws a couple in the dirt or throws a couple picks. So I love his development. I love his footwork. I love his arm strength. I love the way he approaches the game. And I think you're right. I think he's going to continue this Sunday to advance.
Absolutely.
All right, Tunch, what is your key for Sunday?
All right, so I'm going for the other quarterback, Jacoby Brissett. I want to move it. You know, when I was watching film, Missy, I noticed when he drops back and you knock him off his spot or you get in his face, he's not as effective. Now, one of the things they do, they play a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets. And when Jack Doyle's in there and Mo Alley Cox and Eric Ebron. Yeah, you know what? They'll double team. They'll keep them in for max protection. They'll double team T.J. Watt with those two guys, and that's when Jacoby is at his best, because when he is in play action, that's when he throws down the field.
Correct.
When he is drop back, it's underneath shallow crosses. And so what I want to do is rough him up a little bit, because T.Y. Hilton, and T.Y. Hilton, he's running more underneath routes now. Did you notice that?
Absolutely.
And but he's very good with the ball in his hands after the catch.
No question. His after catch runnability is top notch. But when you talk about roughing Jacoby Brissett up, you think about the guys that the Steelers have up front: Bud Dupree, T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, and even when you add in Vince Williams into the blitz and linebacker element, they have more than enough time to get the job done. So I definitely like that.
Yeah, I'm liking that too.
All right, my key is sticking with the Steelers offense like Arthur, but not with Mason, with the run game. We know Rosie Nix is back. We saw what he brings to this game. Coach Tomlin said it was no coincidence that James Conner had over 100 yards rushing with Rosie back in there. Also, number 72 is an eligible receiver, not just a fan favorite, but we saw some nice blocking there by Zach Banner. So it is something the Steelers need to get that run game, balance the offense, and I think that is, that could be a major key to winning this game.
Miss, I think you're 100% right, because when Rosie's in there, the offensive line, they've got their hands in the dirt. They're not in a two-point stance. They're not running out of shotgun. They're coming off the ball, and when Zach Banner's in there, the outside linebacker's going for a ride.
All right, Steelers and Colts, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Those are our keys to the game. We do have the status report of who's in, who's out, and who is a big question mark heading into that game. Listed as out: Ramon Foster in the concussion protocol, Benny Snell, who did not practice all week. All right, a potential big week for Jaylen Samuels. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Steelers Live. The Steelers finished their final practice as they prepare for the Colts at Heinz Field, 1 o'clock on Sunday. We do have the status report of who's in, who's out, and who is a big question mark heading into that game. Listed as out: Ramon Foster in the concussion protocol, Benny Snell, who did not practice all week dealing with that knee injury, but listed as doubtful is James Conner. We all know he injured his shoulder in the game on Monday night against the Dolphins. He has not practiced all week, but the Steelers are listing him as doubtful, so we will have to wait until inactives are listed 90 minutes before kickoff on Sunday. Also, Rosie Nix, new to the practice report today. He was limited in practice. The Steelers are calling his status versus the Colts as questionable. Here's much more from number 38, who is also returning from an injury.
I'm going into the game, with the same approach I have every time. If I get 20-plus carries, and I get 20-plus carries, but I'm gonna have the same approach though, for sure.
How many catches?
I'm
Put
not
a number
sure
on your
yet.
Carries. So
I don't know. Hopefully, 10
Wasn't sure
catches.
if you had the whole touch amount in mind or not. Or what,
Yeah.
but.
No, I don't really care. If I don't touch the ball as much. Just as long as we get the victory, that's all that really matter. So if I get the ball 20 times, that's great. But if I don't, it don't matter.
All right, it's worth mentioning on the Colts status report, wide receiver T.Y. Hilton is listed as out. He will miss the game versus Steelers on Sunday. Hilton has 191 receiving yards. That's an average of 95.5 per game, and a touchdown catch in his 2 career games here in Pittsburgh versus the Steelers. So a big loss for the Colts in terms of their offense. It's another home game. We all know what happened on Monday night when number 72 reported as an eligible receiver. I had a chance this week to go one-on-one with Zach Banner. Not only did we talk about the reception he felt from the fans at Heinz Field, but also why his teammates and the coaching staff here with the Steelers has made Pittsburgh feel like home for him.
Pittsburgh is just like that. Like, you can just tell the Pittsburgh people are about action more than words. And if you do have actions, then you can have your words. But I meant what I said. I've been here all off season through the cold and the heat. And I've seen everything Pittsburgh has to offer in terms of football support as a team, but also individual support this last week. And I know I kind of jumped the gun on that. I know we weren't getting to that, but I just wanted to show my appreciation to the Pittsburgh fans because, like I said, they're so football oriented and so focused on and so die-hard black and gold. I got that right this time. That it means a lot to them. And I want them to know that not only for me, but other guys on this team, it means a lot to us as well.
All right, make sure on Saturday night you catch the Mike Tomlin Show on KDKA TV following their late news at 11:35 this week. Coach Tomlin talked a lot about the Colts, specifically their defense and success in the red zone.
Man, they play good situational ball. I thought the significance in the game was they won some third mediums in the red zone on defense that were significant. 3rd and 3 on the 8, 3rd and 5 on the 11. Downs like that, those 4-point plays that made them settle for field goal attempts are significant. That captured my attention in terms of watching it live. We can't allow the game to unfold that way. We got to play good in situational ball. I think that's one of the reasons why they're a 5-2 team. They've done a good job on both sides of the ball in those moments.
All right, and again, you can hear much more from Coach Tomlin on the Mike Tomlin Show Saturday night at 11:35 following the late news on KDK TV. Do not worry, though, if you're not in the Pittsburgh area, we'll be posting that on the Steelers official YouTube page after the live airing, so you'll be able to catch that before the Steelers take on the Colts Sunday at Heinz Field, 1 o'clock. It is the Steelers Salute to Service game. So shout out to the Steelers Pro Shop for the hoodie that I am wearing today. You can check out all of the Steelers Salute to Service merch on shop.steelers.com. That's going to do it for this edition of Steelers Live. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on this edition of Steelers Weekly. We'll see you next time.